it's Ivory, your new favorite female comedic science coach. And I want to continue my discussion and just pick up where I left off in my first video on reflections on leaving Christianity. For those who didn't see the first video, through this series, I want to just share things that I've learned along my spiritual journey since leaving Christianity, just in hopes that it will inspire, encourage, and help others. And so today I saw a post and I responded to it, and as I was responding to the post, it brought up one of the important things that I've learned through my spiritual journey. And I thought that that would be a good thing to talk about in this video. So when in the 90s, when I left Christianity, there was a term for people who had left Christianity and stepped outside of the matrix, if you will, and started asking questions about what we've been taught in school and from our parents and in church, and just coming to the realization that some of those things were not factual, were not true, and then searching for the truth, searching for answers to those questions, and just starting to educate yourself, starting to deprogram yourself from the indoctrination and educating yourself and being enlightened. And it was called being conscious. Now, in today's terms, it's called being woke. And the other reference for being conscious in the 90s was having knowledge of self. But the idea behind the terms being conscious, having knowledge of self, and being woke is that acquiring a bunch of information is enlightenment. But just because you've acquired a bunch of information doesn't mean that you know who you are, that you understand your purpose, or that you can even apply all of the knowledge and information that you've obtained to benefit your life. When you leave Christianity and you realize that what you've been taught is not the truth, then you want to know what the truth is. And so you start to search for answers. And there is so much information out there. Going back to when I started at the age of like 15, 16, our main source of information was books. So you would go to, they had a lot of African American bookstores that had like the woke conscious information. So you would go to the bookstore, buy a book. read it, and then, you read one book, and then they have certain sources, and then you read another book. And so that's how we learn. That's how we got our information. And then those authors would sometimes give live lectures at a bookstore, one of the African American bookstores. They would come in, give a lecture, and you might pay like $5 or something like that to attend the lecture. And I mean, you sit there, you write notes, and that's how we got our information. But now, I mean, you got YouTube, you can Google stuff. I mean, and you still do have books, those are still sources, but a lot of stuff, you can get a lot of information with just a click of a button. And so I know I've had experiences where I go on YouTube and I'm looking up a certain thing, and then that leads to this, and then it leads to this, and then it leads to this. And so you can just go down a whole rabbit hole sometimes. I mean, because there's just so much information. And so when you're on this quest for truth, it can be overwhelming because there's so much information out there, and different sources may say different things. And you have so many different thoughts and ideas that are being put out there. You have people telling you, what you should eat, meat is bad, you need to be vegetarian. But then even in that, with, okay, be vegetarian, it's like, well, certain fruits and vegetables are not natural, they're hybrid, and so we need to stay away from these, and you can only eat this. And so just it can be, as I said, just overwhelming. And not knowing really where to start, or trying to decide what's right for you, what you are going to follow. It's like, okay, what I was taught is not true. So what is the truth? What am I going to follow? And that brings me back to what I was talking about in my last video. Learning to tap into the divine feminine, learning to go within, because the truth is, knowledge of self, being woke, true knowledge of self, true awakening comes from going within, discovering who you truly are. I don't want to say the good and the bad, your strengths as well as your weaknesses. Learning and understanding what your gifts are, what your passions are, discovering what your why is, what you feel that your purpose is, what you're called to. Learning what you do stand for. What are your values? this is the wokeness that is gonna matter, because this is what is going to shape your lifestyle. And so getting information is cool. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the most important thing that you can do along your spiritual journey is learning to tap into the divine feminine, going within and learning yourself. And in doing that, learning to trust your own voice, learning to trust your intuition, that will guide you. That's what's going to guide you on your life path, along your spiritual path. Otherwise, you're going to be overwhelmed, and you won't have anything to ground you, and you'll just kind of be going from one thing to the next, as far as trying to figure out what the truth is, or what's right for you, if you're not grounded in who you are. And so again, the most important thing that you can do is to invest in your own personal spiritual development. And really getting to know yourself. And as I said, getting to know what you stand for, what your goals are, what your direction in life is, because that is going to help you recognize what's right for you and what's not right for you. When you're presented with information, your spirit will tell you if what you've been presented with is right for you. And it doesn't necessarily mean that what someone said is wrong, but that might be right for them. Just because it's right for them doesn't mean it's right for you. And so you want to be grounded in who you are. And so you really want to take some time, as someone coming from Christianity, where you've been taught to look for validation from other people, to listen to other people's voice, and to not trust your own. You've been taught that, the self is sinful, and the self can't be trusted, because the self is wicked and the self will lead you astray. When the truth is, going within and listening to your intuition is actually going to guide you where you need to go. Your intuition is going to tell you what's right for you and what's not right for you. And so I know I keep saying this, but it is really important to go within. And that really and truly is enlightenment. That is awakening. That is being woke.
Are you interested in learning more about how to tap into the divine feminine? Do you feel overwhelmed with questions and information after leaving Christianity? Are you traumatized by the angry, jealous, vengeful God of Christianity, or by spiritual abuse from Christians? Do you struggle with mental and/or emotional challenges such as anxiety or depression? Then reach out to me at comediccoaching@gmail.com or on Instagram at Goddess Power Principles Coaching. Thank you for watching. Peace and blessings.